1, 2, 3.
Okay.
All right.
Hold on, I'm not on this.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3. With us, and he's going to give us an update.
Okay, today at approximately 2:28 p.m., Mobile Police Department was called to 87 Doman Drive, I believe it is, in reference to a potential shooting. When officers arrived here on the scene, they found one-year-old that had been shot, and the paramedics were contacted, and the ambulance was contacted, and they responded, and they immediately began to try to do things that would maintain the life of the child. So the baby was transported to Providence Hospital. We are processing the scene at this time. Our investigators, our identification investigators, and our assault investigators are doing the follow-through at this time to try to determine what actually happened. All we know at this time is that the mother was home at the time of the incident, along with another 2-year-old child. Our victim is 1 year of age. The other child in the home was 2 years of age. And then, of course, in the rear of the residence was a mother-in-law suite where the mother had allegedly gone out back to make her aware that she was getting ready to leave the residence. That's what we know at this time.
Sorry, sir.
That the mother of the 1-year-old had gone out back. There's a mother-in-law suite behind the residence. She had gone out back to let her know that she was getting ready to leave the residence when we believe the 2-year-old came out and told his grandmother that his ears were shrinking. And so again, we believe this is an accidental shooting. We're following through as we find out more about the status of the 1-year-old. We'll update you guys as we get that information.
Just who owned the gun?
The gun was actually owned by the parents, by the people that lived at the residence.
Okay. Just to be clear, who was home at the time? It was the mother, mother-in-law, and 2 children, correct?
The mother-in-law, and 2 children.
Okay.
The children are brothers?
Yeah, the children they're all related.
Okay.
The 2 children are related.
3 boys that live at the home, correct?
It's my understanding there's two other older siblings that were at school at the time of the incident, so I'm not sure if they were male or female. I have not made contact with them, but I do know that the 2 that was inside the residence were.
So you have at least 4 children that live at the house.
And I can imagine that, I mean, this is kind of a, heartbreaking situation. Where are you guys feeling with that?
Regardless of how this plays out, as a parent, to know that you possibly left a weapon where your child could be injured, you've got to live with that fact for a long time. And again, regardless how it plays out, as a parent, I can only imagine the pain that they're dealing with at this time.
What kind of gun was it?
It's my understanding that it was a 9mm. The exact type, make and model, I'm not sure.
Do you have any idea how many guns are in the house?
No, ma'am, not at this time. Again, early on in the investigation, I just actually went to do a walkthrough through the scene to just kind of observe for myself firsthand what the scene would look like. At this point, we have not done a complete inventory of the contents of the residence.
And just because we have people asking the crime scene tape, that's just for precaution. Doesn't mean a crime's been committed here or anything.
Crime scene tape is normal. Anytime there's a shooting, we try to preserve as much of an area as we possibly can, because the ability to solve the incident, whether it's an offense or an incident, is based on what evidence we're able to recover at that particular scene. So that's the primary reason for crime scene tape. It doesn't necessarily mean that that there is a crime that actually occurred. Again, it could be just an incident.
Are all the adults being cooperative?
At this point, they've been extremely cooperative. Yes,
the mother is out back with the grandmother.
The mother steps out back.
They're both
outside the residence, and they have like a little garage, mother-in-law suite behind
it. They're both out there.
They're both outside.
2-year-old comes out where they both are.
Correct.
Says, "Grandma, my ears are ringing."
My ears are ringing.
There's one shot?
Again, right now I'm not sure how many rounds could have possibly been fired.
I know you guys are still investigating this, but do you know if the 1-year-old shot himself or if the other kid.
Still, it's too early to tell exactly what actually occurred. So we're looking at it. We're going to ask all the questions that you guys are asking me. We're going to ask it of those individuals that are capable of providing us some type of information as to what occurred.
Looking broader here, I know you guys just in the past few months have investigated some situations of accidental shootings involving children. How often do you guys have to deal with this?
I can think of about 3 times this year. Well, in the last, let's say in the last 8 months, at least 3 times in the last 8 months. When they're this young, they're a lot harder to deal with because really it boils down to a parent being responsible with their right to bear arms and not being negligent about where they leave those type of weapons. So again, I can't imagine the pain that this family will be going through, but it's going to be compounded by the fact that one of the children were injured as a result of their negligence.
And since that's a possibility that there was some sort of negligence here since a child was shot, possibly accidental, do you see any charges being filed against any of the adults in this situation?
Again, we're early on in the investigation. The last thing that we have to rush to judgment on is whether or not we're going to bring charges. If there's something that happens at a later date, I don't think there's no charge that will make up for the pain that this family is going to experience.
Can you say at all where the child was shot?
I'm not sure. Again, in their rush to get the child to the hospital, they didn't really identify our area.
Do you know where the gun was? Was it like on the table or?
It's my understanding that the weapon was left in the parents' bedroom. Like specifically where in the bedroom, I'm not sure.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for your cooperation. Yes, fine.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
My hair kind of blows everywhere.